Hey love bugs, welcome back to another Tarot Lover review. Today we are taking a look at the Before Tarot. Now if you haven't seen it yet, I have done a video on the After Tarot. So whichever one you're watching, be sure to watch the other one just so you can get an idea of what that tarot deck looks like moments after the iconic Rider-Waite deck imagery. So if you've heard of this tarot deck or you haven't heard of it, hopefully this review and the flip through that comes afterwards helps you to decide on whether or not this tarot deck is right for you. Now, if you want to skip straight to the flip through, feel free to look down in my description. I break down all the suits into chapters to make it easier for you to locate exactly where in the flip through you would like to start. But right now, we are going to talk about the packaging, we're going to talk about the guidebook, and we are going to talk all things the cards. Card stock, card size, card imagery, naming convention, the backing, the texture, all the things. So if you are interested in the details of this tarot deck, stick around. Otherwise, feel free to head on over to the flip through. So let's go ahead and get into the packaging. Now, it is very much similar to the After Tarot. The publisher for this one is Los Scarabeo Tarot, not Los Scarabeo Tarot, but Los Scarabeo Publishing. And what's interesting is I have always thought that Llewellyn was the only one that utilized boxes like this or did kits. I call these kits because Llewellyn has always called these kits, and it made it a lot easier to kind of differentiate between, you know, what's the difference between a kit and a regular tarot deck, which we're going to talk about in a moment, other than the obvious, which is a larger box. But both of them utilize the same type of packaging, which I always appreciate and love the fact that it's in a packaging like this, because when you look at it from the side, it looks fantastic on a bookshelf. It makes it look like a book. I love that. It's the little details that go a long way. But yeah, all the packaging, well, this packaging opens like so. This is the interior of the box. You get the ribbon in order to pull out your tarot deck from the center of the packaging. The packaging is thicker because who doesn't want that? Okay. And definitely you'll want that just in case your tarot deck falls on the floor in the packaging. Because obviously if it's not in the packaging, it's most likely going to get damaged. But if it is in packaging like this and centered in the middle of the packaging, you know, should the whole box fall on the floor, your tarot deck is fine. Because it's centered, it's not going to hit the floor at all. It's the hard, thick packaging that's going to take most of the force. So yeah, that is the packaging. I'll leave that right here. Put this off to the side so you guys can see that. So let's talk about the guidebook. So typically with the guidebook, what you would normally see within a tarot deck is a small little white book for most tarot decks. A lot of the tarot deck creators out there now are putting more effort into their guidebooks, which is always greatly appreciated because everybody wants to be able to see your take, your understanding of how you read these cards, why you chose the imagery that you chose. So the guidebook was created by Corinne Kennard, which I believe did do the After Tarot as well. Don't quote me on that. Check out the video just to be on the safe side. But I did not mention the artwork. The artwork was done by Ian and Simona Rossi. So if you are ever interested in taking a look at their work, you can definitely take a look at their work. But I think they did a wonderful job on staying similar to the Rider-Waite imagery, but still have their own take on the imagery itself. So let's talk about the guidebook. So with the kits, with packages or with tarot decks that come in large packages like this, typically what you can expect is a larger guidebook, and they are literally a book. And what I have noticed is when they come in kits like this and the guidebook comes this big, you typically get more information than your average guidebook. Your average guidebook will typically just give you keywords and a brief description, and that's it. Guidebooks, companion books that come in kits, give you a lot more information, where the artist was coming from when they created the artwork that you see, or the person who wanted the cards to be set a certain way. It gives more information about where their mindset was when they chose that type of imagery. So companion books, guidebooks like this are fantastic. It's a wealth of knowledge to get an understanding of where that creator, that artist was coming from when creating that tarot deck. So in regards to the guidebook, you do get color, full color pictures of each of the cards. It does go in by suits, just so you guys can see there. And then major arcana, you do get full color as well. Now, you can see there are 3 different types of cards in this book. The reason being is because it is showing you the before, the present, so past, present, future, before, during, after tarot, basically, right? Even though during is your classic Rider-Waite imagery that everyone knows. So that's what I love about these guidebooks, is because it gives you a full view of what you're potentially going to be looking at with all 3 next to each other. You're not just getting a glimpse of what that one particular card is for this deck. They're giving you a full view of what it looks like and the differences that you can find. And there is a ton of information. Now, there's not too much information with the minor arcana, but still, it's a lot more information than you typically get. Now, when it comes to the... No, that's pretty much what I want to say. I don't want to, yeah. Anyways, scratch that. With these particular ones as well, you do get tarot spreads. And I believe you get more than one. Yes. You do get a couple of tarot spreads, but they are not your typical, your average tarot spreads you get within guidebooks. They are complex. They are themed. So I absolutely love it. Whenever a guidebook includes a tarot spread that is not your typical tarot spread. I mean, it's great when it's not your typical tarot spread, but just having a tarot spread in the guidebook, period, it helps everyone. It allows that person to utilize what's here instead of having to search for a tarot spread to utilize. So I absolutely love that. That is your guidebook. And let me just kind of show you the back there. So that's your guidebook. Let's go ahead and talk about the cards. So as I get into this particular subject, I do want to say that I do typically compare the imagery, the naming convention, to the Rider-Waite Smith imagery, but basically that's what it is. So either way, it's going to be based off of the Rider-Waite Smith, but the imagery is moments before the iconic imagery of the Rider-Waite Smith. So you could utilize other guidebooks with this particular tarot deck, but I feel like the companion book that comes with this deck is a better option because it's moments before. It's giving you information about moments before the iconic Rider-Waite Smith. Whereas if you were to utilize a guidebook that you can purchase elsewhere, it's going to give you what you are seeing within the Rider-Waite Smith. It's not before, it's not after. So I think this particular deck I would utilize the guidebook with all the time. So let's talk about it. The imagery, well, not the imagery, the naming convention. Naming convention is exactly the same as the Rider-Waite-Smith. Pentacles, Cups, Wands, and Swords are your suits, and all the major arcana are exactly the same. So there is no difference with that. Imagery wise, as we have been talking about this entire video, this is moments before the iconic Rider-Waite-Smith imagery. Actually, pause. We're jumping ahead. We did not go over the back of the card texture, and the card size. So before we get into the imagery, let's go over that first. Let's take a look at the card size. Card size is your typical tarot card size, but I do have a Rider-Waite-Smith tarot card available here. So you can at least see if there is a size difference with the cards, and there is. It's a little bit on the thinner side, which technically you don't really notice when you're shuffling. Regardless of how you shuffle, you're not going to really see a difference when handling them. It's just on the thinner side. The backs of the cards are absolutely gorgeous. Each of the before and after have two different backings. And that's interesting because this is before. And the after tarot has a similar backing, but there's more to it. So it's like the after effects. So I love the details that they have put in to both of these tarot decks. Now, the texture is gloss. They are glossy. And the cardstock is a little bit on the thicker side. I would say it's a little bit thicker than what most people will like. I don't mind it. I like the thickness to this tarot deck. I feel like it's the perfect thickness. I call it the Goldilocks zone of cardstock, and the reason why I say that is because if you were to split your deck in half and you were going to do that riffle shuffle, meaning this, right? You have just enough. Let me hold the cards correctly here. You have just enough tension when bending the cards to shuffle. You're not getting too much slack, and you're not getting too much tension to where you can't bend the cards to shuffle in that riffle shuffle way. I'm not saying that you have to shuffle in that way. It's just that is how I am able to visually give you an idea of the cardstock. You can shuffle however way you feel comfortable. You want to do it that way, do it that way. You can do the under over method and shuffle that way. Some people go in the front and the back, you know, front, back. Really, it could be however you want to do it. You want to throw it on the table and shuffle it around like that. You can shuffle it that way. It's however you want to shuffle. Do you want to just cut your deck in half or in different places? Do that. Totally up to you. You don't have to do it that way. Again, that is just a way for me to give you an idea of what I mean by the cardstock. Now that we've talked about that, we can now talk about the imagery. So back to the moments before. So I love this tarot deck, and I feel like I'm going to sneeze, so I apologize. Okay, never mind. I love this concept. The before, during, and after. I feel like this gives you so much perspective on viewing a card. So it's just like by looking through these cards of moments before, you can almost keep that as a reference when you're using the Rider-Waite-Smith. And it's like when you're utilizing that particular card from the Rider-Waite-Smith and you can't help but think of the card before or after, I feel like that helps give that card so much more dimension than ever before. So I love this. I love being able to see things from a different perspective and just gaining so much more clarity on a single card. So I love that. So I wanted to show you, as I mentioned, the imagery is very close to the Rider-Waite-Smith, if not more detailed. And I love that. But I want to show you some of these cards because it definitely sparks a conversation within my head when I look at that particular card. So the kings are always being handed their element, their suit, moments before. And why does this look familiar? Because it's the Ace of Pentacles. So it's that opportunity finally coming to you, or it's almost like saying, job well done, here you go, kind of thing. You did it, here you go. That opportunity, here it is, because you did the work, you took the time, and you deserve this opportunity because you put the work in. That is how I see that. It's just like, Here's another one. The King of Swords. He's being handed his sword. It's just, I love that. So, since we were talking about the Pentacles, look at how the Ace of Pentacles is in this picture. And for me, the idea that came to me with this card was, you need to be given that opportunity in order to use that opportunity. It's like, with every opportunity, it has to come from someone. It's almost like passing the baton. You know what I mean? Or it's like someone telling you, this is important. This is important. This is what you need to do. It's passing the baton. You know what I mean? It's just like, it is your time now. Oh, I love that. It's just amazing how one picture can spark so many conversations so easily. So there's that. Let's talk about the Tower. Okay. It's just like, dude, I'm sorry. Excuse my language. You're walking into a shitstorm. How do you not see that? You could stop yourself. Like, dude, there's just so much story there. Again, that sparks conversation. It's like, if you're up here, why are you allowing these people to... Are you like telling these people that they can seek shelter in your home, knowing that your home is not so fantastical? Knowing that there's something wrong and you're hiding it, it's like, I'm telling you, 10 of Swords. Ambush. The Swords. A 7 of Wands. It's like, I'm begging you, please reconsider. And then you go into defensive mode because they don't want to listen to you. Well, if you don't want to listen to me, then I will defend myself. But I'm going to ask you first to please see it from my point of view. Right? I love it. I love it. The 5 of Cups. It's like, dude, you willingly let someone knock it down. You will, and now you want to cry about it? You saw what happened, and you want to cry about it? These are the things. These are the things. The 2 of Wands. So this guy was inspired by someone else, or wanted to step into the shoes of that person to see what possibilities they saw. I'm telling you, this deck is fantastic. I love the way that it calls for you to see things from a different perspective and spark a whole new conversation about how you go from here to here. I absolutely love that. But yeah, that is all I have. I have no bad reviews on this tarot deck. I absolutely love it. Would highly recommend it, especially if you want to utilize it for readings of, you know, what could you do before you did this, you know, that kind of thing. Or if you have questions of what will happen if I do this, you could use the after tarot. You know, you can use the before tarot for what you're doing beforehand, and the after tarot as to what happens after you do it. What are you doing to prepare what's going to happen because of your solution, right? I love it. Anyways, hopefully this video has been helpful to you in some way. If it has, feel free to leave a like and take a look at my channel to see if there are any other tarot deck reviews that I have done that you might be interested in. If you don't find a tarot deck that I have yet to review, leave a comment. Let me know what that tarot deck is. I will take a look and see if it's something that I want to include in my collection. I don't want to just buy every single tarot deck that someone says that I haven't done on, because I want to be able to use it. I'm utilizing my hard-earned money to utilize these tarot decks because I want to use it. But if I don't resonate with it as a tarot deck should, I don't want to buy something that I won't end up utilizing. So anyways, still let me know in the comments. But without further ado, here is the flip through. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Here's the flip through. Enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.